So today we've come into Palma and we're starting our walk in the park of Sa Feixina, and behind me you'll see we have a monument. This monument's caused a lot of trouble over the last few years because the current government wants to demolish it. It's a monument to those that have fallen in the wars. In particular, it's from the Civil War, and the government see it as a memorial to that Civil War and to the Franco era that came afterwards. So they have actually worked out a plan and financed the plan to have this demolished. It's not gone yet, and so it's still here. My own thoughts really are it should remain. It is a memorial, and we shouldn't really take these memorials away because they remind us of the good and the bad. And if you take it away, what's there left to remind us that there was a civil war and people did die? So anyway, that's my political bit. Today we're going to have a little walk around Palma, have a look at some of the different things. It is January, it's 2021, we've got a pandemic and we've got lots of new restrictions, but they're not stopping us going for a walk. So let's have a walk around and have a look at this park of Sa Feixina. The inscription on the side here says this monument was built in the year 1948 in memory of the victims of the sinking of the cruiser Baleares during the Civil War, which was from 1936 to 1939. Today it is a symbol for the city of the democratic will to never forget the horrors of war and dictatorship of Palma, and that was in 2010 that was created. But it still causes a lot of controversy here in Palma and actually in the whole of Spain. Here's one of the very many sundials that you'll find in Mallorca. It's actually 11:30, so not too bad, it's about an hour out. A lot of people out today. Not a lot else you can do in Palma today. The big stores are closed, the shopping malls are closed, bars and restaurants are now closed, but we can still go for a walk in the parks or by the sea, and it is a beautiful sunny day. Since the 1st of January we've had a cold dip in the temperatures. It went very cold, very wet, we had a lot of rain, and now the temperatures are going up a little bit. Still cool, but as you can see we've got beautiful blue skies. We have had a lot of rain since the beginning of the year, so over the last couple of weeks, and so there is water coming down through the Torrente. Not a huge amount of water, but quite often we see this completely dry. So today's Saturday, the 16th of January, and it is the weekend before San Sebastian. San Sebastian is the patron saint of Palma, and normally this weekend there would be lots of festivities being set up and lots of things going on for the people in Palma to enjoy right up to Wednesday, which is San Sebastian. So usually along here they would have some stalls and some crafty type things, but today it's all open for us just to walk. And no stalls at all. Palma is a city with lots of culture, lots of history, lots of museums, and just on the hill, just above here, is Es Baluard, and the sculpture up there is a good marking point for you to find it. So if you want to see some usually modern art, the Es Baluard Museum and Art Gallery is just up above me. We're going to go on walking towards the cathedral now. So bars and restaurants have been told that they have to close now, or at least close to people coming in and sitting, so they've turned themselves into takeaways. So they can still serve food to take away. One of the typical narrow streets. This is Calle of Jaime III, the statue we've just seen there. We're just going to go up this way though. So this street is Apuntadores, and a very well known street for its bars and restaurants. Usually a place that's full of life. Lots of little hotels along here as well. And all of these places will have been told to close or sell takeaways. Really strange and eerie. This is Abajo, a very famous bar that on a Friday, Saturday evening would throw lots of rose petals down from the balconies above. Not open anymore. Coming to the end now of Apuntadores and to the end of the Borne. And Plaza de la Arena. Some shops are allowed to be open, the smaller shops are all allowed to be open, so fairly normal for them, except there won't be many clients around. So this is the Passage de Borne, and we have the sea behind us, and we're going up into Palma now, walking up the passage. Again, in recent weeks there have been tables and chairs out in the middle of this walkway, so people could have drinks, have lunch, but that's all stopped now. Large stores over 700 square meters now have to close. So here we have Zara Home, which is open, so it must be less than 700 square meters, but some of the bigger stores now have to close. Street artists can still do their thing. Very popular here in Mallorca. Soap bubbles, huge sizes, children love them. Beautiful architecture here in Palma. Beautiful stonework. Just coming to the end of the Borne now. One of the most famous cafes that's at the end of the Borne is the Bar Bosch. Always a place to visit, usually lots of tables full of people having their coffees, a beer. McDonald's seem to be doing a trade, takeaway. Here's Bar Bosch. We usually have lots and lots of tables out, now limited to just a window. Buses are still running, limited capacities. I spoke about CNA in one of my other videos when we were walking through Palma as one of the stores that is fondly missed in Stoke-on-Trent, my hometown. Well, here we do have a C&A, but it's a large store. It's bigger than 700 square meters. So under the new regulations, it's been told to close. But it looks as though they're taking the opportunity to modernize, rejuvenate, so they've cleared the whole place out. And looks like they're going to be doing a lot of work here over the next week or two while they have to be closed. They're forced to be closed, they can't open. Well, we look forward to see what happens in there. So in one of the earlier videos we actually took pictures of the Christmas lights, and the Christmas lights are still up, and they would normally have them on right up until San Sebastian, which is on Wednesday 20th of January, but this year they turned the lights off very early. They wanted to stop people coming in to see the lights, so even though the lights might be still up, they're not lit. And the San Sebastian Fiesta, which is coming up on Wednesday, has been curtailed. There is nothing being organised by the Ayuntamiento, the council, so nothing will be going on for that. Another splendid building. This is the court building. I do love the architecture here in Palma. Plaza de Maquette. It's the old Grand Hotel. It's now a cultural centre owned by La Caixa, one of the biggest, if not the biggest bank in Spain. And Teatro Principal up at the top there. People queuing up to go into the pastry shops, still very popular, and people willing to wait in line in a queue. Coming up to the front, this is the Teatro Principal Municipal Theatre. Most of the events at the theatres now have been stopped. There are still some going on though. And Anita's due to go to a concert later on this week at the Trui Theatre. As far as we know, has not yet been cancelled. We're now in the arcade that's below the Plaza Mayor, but for some months now this has been closed and all the businesses have now gone from here. So all this part is actually sealed off. So just 2 or 3 weeks ago we were here in Plaza Mayor, and all the stalls were here for the Christmas market, and they usually go and we have the artisan stalls, but today there's nothing. Plaza Mayor is empty. Just leaving Plaza Mayor now, heading down towards Via Roma. For those of you with long memories, that's where the British consulate used to be up there. Moved quite a few years ago. also there used to be some stalls here for the Christmas stalls, market stalls. They've all gone. Flower sellers are still here though. There's quite a few flower sellers just along this bit of the Via Roma. Beautiful displays at all of these stalls. We're now at the top of the Rambla, Via Roma, and we're going to walk up Calle Olmos towards Plaza España. Calle Olmos, just across the road over there. This is Calle Olmos. Another pedestrianised street that would normally have tables and chairs along the middle here, so you could sit down to have a coffee or pastry. Now if you buy one you have to take it away, find somewhere to eat it. Just approaching the top now of Calle Olmos, which joins on to San Miguel. We'll carry on and go into Plaza España. It's Calle San Miguel. Still some street vendors selling their work, and street entertainers keeping the pedestrians happy. Up to Plaza España. This is Plaza España, and there are still a couple of the chiringuitos still here and still open, so, selling their churros. On the corner here we have Bar Cristal, and a few years ago they decided to give up. Someone else took it over, and I read in the paper that whoever took it up has given up, and so the original people from Backstreet are planning to reopen. So interesting, good news. We always enjoyed going to Backstreet in the past, so maybe we can go there again. So across the road here we've got the railway stations. The one that takes you to Sóller, closed at the moment till March, we believe, and the Inca Railway and the metro. Here is the entrance to the metro. Just have a little look here, somewhere I've never actually been. Anita's used it, but somewhere I've missed out on. Taking the stairs and the lazy one on the escalator. Certainly hadn't realised how big this place was. Also services as a hub for the buses. So if you're catching a bus from Santa Ponsa, for example, the 103, that comes in there. And over the other side we've got the trains. I'm quite impressed. We'll make our way back up into Plaza España and then head on back around Palma. So we just come out of the railway station, the hub, and we're back in Plaza España. Second-hand bookstore. Much busier than I expected it to be today. I was expecting it to be very quiet in Palma, but it's really quite busy. On another occasion, I would like to take a walk through this park. This is a relatively new park, but it's not one I've had a chance to discover. So in a future video, we'll go for a walk through the park in Palma. Today we're just going to head down the Avenidas. Anita wants to go to a wool shop in Sindicato, so we're going to head down in that direction. the stores that has had to close most of its space is El Corte Inglés, so still open, but much of the store will be shut off and you can't buy things. So the supermarket will be open and other essential items, but much of the store will be closed so that you can't purchase things. It's the headquarters of one of the biggest banks in Mallorca. This is Banca Marc. I'm going to turn right here. Head down Calle Sindicato. We're going to head up Calle Sindicato and it looks very busy to me. Not much different than it would look on a normal Saturday. So people are out and about in their shopping. Workmen working. Just try to keep ourselves socially distanced from people. Of course, we're in January and it's time for the sales, the rebajas, so that's one reason there are so many people here. They're looking to get their bargains in the sales, the rebajas. And with the big stores being largely closed, it's a good opportunity for the smaller stores to cash in on the sales this January. Just off Sindicato there are many streets like this. Very narrow streets leading to a church at the other end. We're going to head down this side street because this is where we think Anita's wool shop is. So Anita's found the shop that she wants to go into, and it's obviously very popular. There's a queue of people waiting to go in to make their purchases. It looks like a typical oldie world shop. While Anita's queuing up to go in the wool shop, I thought I'd just take the opportunity to have a look around the back streets here. Not really somewhere I would normally go to. These little passages leading from one back street to the other. This is an area where they're selling lots of material. This is the typical Mallorquin material. We have many things in our house, cushions and tablecloths made from this material.
No, jo he acabat la feina, sí, però encara no de moment per cobrar.
This is obviously the street that you come to if you want anything to do with sewing or knitting. And little greengrocers at the end. And a little plaza. This is a church we could see from Sindicato. I'm just getting a little closer to the front of the queue, so I'll just wander back. It is annoying that some people feel the need to put graffiti on the walls and on the doors, and that's a splendid door spoilt by all that graffiti. And there's Anita getting a little bit closer to the front of the queue. Anita's looking happy, she's got a bag full.
So all this wool for €16. How nice to knit a little coat and hat for Luna and a hat for William.
One happy wife.
I am.
We're carrying on walking now down Calle Sindicato. Anita has her purchase, she's happy. I always tell my children to look up, and here, looking up, we can see these again magnificent buildings which easily go unnoticed.
Busier than I thought.
Another one of the little side streets. So this is the entrance to the shopping centre that's below Plaza Mayor. It's no longer functioning down there, as we saw earlier on. We're going to carry on this way. This is the point at which we'd try to find somewhere for a coffee. You can still buy a coffee, but you cannot sit down and drink a coffee. So they're all takeaways, so people are queuing up to buy takeaway coffees. Just got a police car coming towards us. It's the second police car I've seen in the last few minutes. They're patrolling the streets just to make sure nobody's breaking any of the rules. Nice little road down towards the cathedral. Any of you Barcelona fans out there? This is the Barcelona shop. Looks to be closed today though, so you're not going to get any of your shirts here. For those of us who are Real Mallorca supporters, this is the place to go to. This is the official store for Real Mallorca, so I'm sure Anita wants to have a little look in here to see what bargains she can find. So we did manage to buy a shirt. I'm going to carry on now, going down towards the post office. So yes, we did manage to find a coffee here in Palma. So cheers everyone. Oh, cheers. I've got to take my mask off, it doesn't work like this. See you in a moment. A really nice coffee from Rafa's here in Plaza del Rosario. Anita's still enjoying hers. So we weren't allowed to sit outside, but managed to find the bench outside. Sorry, we weren't allowed to sit inside, but we managed to find the bench outside. So we should just finish the coffee there. So the building on the left is the Correos post office, the main post office in Palma. And another beautiful building. And next to the post office we have one of the government buildings here. Another fine building, and next to that one, Zara home, which is one of the places we saw at the beginning of the video as we walked up the Borne. So we're just walking down now to the Borne, and then we'll walk up the Borne towards CNA, and then up Jaime III towards the smaller El Corte Inglés. So here we are walking up the Borne again, up towards CNA. Top of the road here, normally there would be a big stage in Plaza Mayor, Plaza España. There would be big stages, and on Tuesday evening they would be celebrating San Sebastian with concerts, different types of music going on at each of the stages. Different parts of the streets there'd be little bonfires where you could cook your sausages and have yourself an alfresco meal. But all of that has been cancelled for this year. There are no stages up there, and there'll be no alfresco eating. Not on the bonfires anyway. So looking down there, that's where we've just walked. I notice this terrace up above here. The busts, nice to sit there summer evening. We're going to head now up Jaime III.
café. Siempre tenía poco.
Now at the top of Jaime III and looking down into the river that runs down to the sea, and it's really nice to see so much water here, and this actually looks quite deep and quite clean. I'm just going to walk down here by the side of the river. Towards where we started at the Park of Sa Feixina, which is just over to my right. This is the entrance to the museum that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This is the art museum of Es Baluard, and this is the entrance. We won't be going in today, but just have a little look a little bit further. And that's the entrance down through that way. At the beginning of the video we were looking up to Es Baluard from this walkway, this promenade down below, and now we're actually in Es Baluard, overlooking the port, and this is a structure that points it out, and that's the museum behind us. Under normal circumstances there is a little cafe here where you can have a drink on the terrace. It's quite a pleasant place to sit. And looking down at La Lonja and the fish market. Okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please share it with your friends. Let everybody have a look at Palma. Remember, it's January, it's 2021, and we're in this pandemic, but Palma's still a beautiful place to have a walk around. So please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.